Hey guys, today I'm installing harnesses on my side-by-side. These particular harnesses are Pro Armor 5-point harnesses. I'm installing them on my 2019 Yamaha YXZ. This is a general harness install video though, so a lot of these things are applicable for a lot of other different harness manufacturers. I just chose Pro Armor because I like the look of them. Also, some of these tips and tricks will help with other types of side-by-sides, Razors, KRX, X3s. They're probably not exactly the same steps, but it's pretty similar situation. I've actually been using these harnesses for a couple years now, and I absolutely love them. They're the 3-inch wide harnesses, and the wider harnesses kind of displace some of that pressure that's holding you back in your seat, so it's more comfortable. It's got a lot of padding, and I don't even notice them on a day-long ride. I can still reach everything I need to. You can pop out of them really fast, really easy. I will say, if you're buying the Pro Armor harnesses for these lights, they're not worth it. These are junk lights. They both quit working within the first week. You push them to turn them on. The driver's side one, I pushed it, it came on, and I could never get it to come back off, so it was on until it died. And the passenger side worked for a little bit longer than that, but as soon as I power washed, I forgot to take the light out, and it just ruined the light, never worked again. And these lights, I mean, they're just cheap plastic, and they don't have any sort of seal, like weather seal, so you can't get them wet. I mean, so don't buy them for these lights. I would buy like a replacement light, something a little better than this. But yeah, that's just a kind of a gimmicky thing that you do. But I really like these harnesses. I'm really happy with them. I like the look of them, and I really just wanted to share them with you guys. Also, I've been seeing a lot of questions about harnesses on forums, specifically YXZ forums, and I like to make videos to help people. There is a couple issues you run into installing harnesses on a YXZ. One is that the bottom harness mounts, you're going to need to make or buy an extension bracket to mount them in, or modify your stock frame, which I don't like the idea of. And I'm going to show you how I made my brackets, and then I'll put a link in the description for the brackets you can buy if you don't want to make your own, but I'll show you those brackets. Also, there's no good 5th point mount in the YXZ. You have to kind of make your own, and I'll show you what I made for a 5th point mount, and I'll give you the drawings and just kind of let you build off my idea and just show you what I did. So I'm going to start installing the harnesses now. In this video, I'm only going to be showing you how to install the driver's side harness. It's the most difficult one to install because the seat does have the slider underneath it. The passenger side has the gas tank underneath it, so you have to be careful there, but it's a really similar installation process. I just didn't want the video to be way too long. The first thing I would do to install aftermarket harnesses would be to remove the bolt that holds on this point of the factory seat belts. I've had an aftermarket cage for a few years, and the aftermarket cage doesn't have this bolt location on it. On your factory cage, it's going to be somewhere in this area. It's going to have an Allen head bolt. It's probably going to be like a 8mm or a 6mm. I use this, but you could use a Allen wrench. So I'm just going to cut mine off. Now I'm going to remove this bottom seat cushion here. Just pull up on it and then pull forward. It comes right out. Now I'm going to remove the 4 bolts holding the seat in. It's a 12mm socket. Alright, now the seat belt, you're going to want to flip it to the outside here over this plastic pad, and then just pull the seat out. It's kind of tricky to get it out of the hole, but you just got to twist it a little bit. Now we need to get to the factory seat belt bolts that are underneath this plastic shield here. But in order to get this plate out of here, you got to take this side panel off. So you're going to want to pull up on this, pull that cover off, and then there's a lot of these plastic fasteners that you're going to have to take out.
I'll start doing that now. These plastic fasteners can be a little bit tricky. I like to apply some side pressure on them and then just turn them out a little bit. You don't have to screw them all the way out. You just wiggle them and the whole thing will come out. Now that the plastic fasteners are out, I'm going to take out 3 10mm bolts. There's one way up under the dash. Now this transmission tunnel panel's free to come loose. Now I'm going to take out these 2 plastic fasteners in the back here. There's 2 more plastic fasteners in the front. Now we have one side of this panel loose, but down here the panels kind of overlap. And then also there's a bolt down in here that we have to get to. I think it's easiest if you take this Yamaha panel off. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to remove this 10mm bolt here at the bottom of the door jamb. Now I'm going to remove these 2 plastic fasteners at the bottom of the seat panel here. Now I'll be removing the 10mm bolt at the bottom of this side panel here. Now I'm going to remove this Yamaha panel. It's a little bit tricky because there's a lot of pieces that kind of overlap each other here. So you're going to have to do a little bit of kind of tweaking stuff out. So I'm going to pull out the front first and then pull this lip out from the underside. And then pull out on this plastic a little bit. There's an ear right there. There. So that's how you get that piece off. While I'm down here, I'm going to remove this point for the factory seat belt. It's a 17mm socket. Now that we got that bolt out, I can pull the factory mount through that hole there. And now it should be about ready to come out. You got to watch this lever here. It kind of hangs up. There we go. Now I'm going to remove this part of the seatbelt. It does have this plug here for the seatbelt safety sensor. So there's a little button back here to push, and then you can pull it out like that. Move that out of the way here. Now I'm going to remove the bolt that attaches it. It's got a nut welded on the other side, so we just have to worry about removing the bolt. It's a 17mm. I'm using a ratcheting wrench. There we go. The next step I already have done. I bent these 2 tabs up to allow the harness bracket to mount in here. I wanted to mount a thicker bracket, so that's why I bent those tabs up. It doesn't affect the nut or mounting point, it's just 2 little tiny tabs. This part of the factory seatbelt that we're eliminating has a seatbelt safety sensor in it. So when you click the seatbelt, it'll turn the light green on the dash and it won't make any sounds or pull any power. So your factory harnesses aren't going to have that sensor in it. So what we're going to do is install this bypass. I bought this online. I'll put a link in the description. This just makes it so your green light is always on and it doesn't make any noises or pull any power. So you just plug this bypass into your factory harness here. It should snap right in. What I like to do is wrap it in electrical tape just to try to keep some water. You could also do some heat shrink. I got the bypass taped up. I'm just gonna kind of tuck it back. Now we're gonna work on removing this seatbelt holder and the retractor here. So first I'm gonna remove this retractor. To get to this bolt, you're gonna have to go underneath the fender here and remove this 10mm bolt. So I'll do that now. From here, what I do is just move this panel kind of out of the way, and you can see right up in there is the bolt. So I don't want to remove all this stuff, so I'm just gonna sneak a 17mm socket up there and get it out that way. There we go. All right, now we're back inside the cab. I can move this retractor out of the way so we can get to this bolt head here. So this is a 8mm Allen head. There we go. I chose to reinstall these bolts in case I ever want to mount something else here, or if I want to put the factory seat belts back, I don't have to look for the bolts. But if you don't want to install them, you don't need them again. So I'm also going to go back under here and put in this bolt. Before we can install our harnesses, some modifications need to be made to the factory mounting point for the seat belts. This is the mounting point for the harness. You can see it doesn't quite fit in there. You couldn't get a bolt in there, and you can't put it on the backside because there's a nut there. So you could grind these ears down. I don't want to do that because I want to keep it strong and safe. So you can buy a adapter kit that'll extend this hole out. They're like 28 bucks or something like that. But I decided to make some, and I'll show you those. This is the adapter bracket that I made. I just bought some of this 1.5 by 1/4 inch thick strap from Tractor Supply Company, and I just put a couple holes in it. They're not real straight or anything. I didn't think this was going to end up on YouTube, honestly, but I'll put a drawing here so you can see the dimensions of this in case you want to make your own. To install this harness adapter plate, you're going to line up the holes and then make sure the plate is perpendicular to your frame here. Use your factory hardware that we took out of the seat belt. Should be a 17mm socket. Just like that. On the inside lower seat belt mount, you don't need one of those plates. You can actually, as long as you've bent these tabs out, you can actually mount the harness bracket straight to the hole here. But I found that once you put that plastic that covers up all this stuff, once you put that plastic piece back, it's really difficult to get to this hole. There's such a small opening here. So I did end up making another bracket that just kind of extends that hole a little bit, and it makes it much easier to get the bolt in. Now I'm going to install this harness adapter plate into this lower seatbelt mount. Once again, this is not necessary, but it is very helpful. Now I'm going to reinstall the liner for underneath the seat. So you want to make sure you get that handle through the hole there. And then on this side with that new bracket, we want to make sure that bracket slips through the existing hole. Now that we have this harness adapter plate slipped through our factory seatbelt hole here, we're going to need to put in fasteners So I picked up some of these 1/2-inch bolts. They're grade 8 1-inch bolts. I just picked them up from TSC. You're gonna have to tweak the plastic back a little bit and slip them through. I put a piece of Velcro here so it didn't scratch the plastic if it rubs against it. Now I'm gonna reinstall the Yamaha side panel. I'm gonna put this bottom lip in first and make sure this cutout lines up with the seatbelt bracket here. So all of this top edge is gonna go on top of your inside liner panel here. So I'm gonna pull it down. And then kind of pull out on this. There we go. I'll put these 2 plastic fasteners in. Like that. Now I'm going to put the bolt in down here. There we go. Now I'm going to reinstall the bolt that goes on the inside of the side panel. Now I'm going to start installing the black plastic fasteners. Now I'm replacing the 3 bolts in the transmission tunnel panel. Now we can put this battery compartment cover back on. Now you're going to want to grab your right shoulder strap. It should be the one with a quick release on it. Now I'm going to put the inner bottom harness strap on. Make sure it's facing the right way so when you put the harness on, it doesn't have to twist. I used another 1/2-inch diameter bolt, 1 inch long. I did cut the pocket a little bit to kind of fit my hands in there. You see the bracket sticks out a little bit, making it a lot easier. If you had to get way down in there, it'd be really hard. Now I'm going to put a lock washer on and put our nut on. Now I grab the other left side harness strap. We're going to put it on this bolt, on this adapter bracket here. Before you install your harness shoulder straps, it might be a good idea to throw the seat back in and sit in it, maybe get somebody to help you, just kind of mock up where the harnesses are going to sit, get a feel for what is the most comfortable. And then if you have like a shoulder pad, maybe get some measurements off the pad to your mounting location so you know what that is. So I know from my pad to about where I want to mount is 9 inches. So that's where I'm going to put my buckle here. Now I'm going to throw this bracket on to kind of mark the position where I want to mount my shoulder straps. So you just throw it through one side and through the other, like that. Keep pulling it through. I want mine to be 9 inches from the top of this pad. There we go. So I got my bracket about 9 inches from the top of the pad.
You're gonna wanna do the same thing on the other side shoulder strap. This one I put at 9 inches as well for the right side. Now I'm gonna pull the seat back out. This is the harness shoulder strap mounting system that came on my Crash off-road cage. If you're interested in a Crash off-road cage, I actually made a video about it, so check that out. But this mounting system has 3 different settings for shoulder strap height. I like to keep mine on the lowest setting because it kind of keeps the mount below my shoulders where it's supposed to be. When I had my stock cage, I just kind of went around the factory bar and then just kind of did it that way. But I recommend getting the Yamaha harness mount. That's a lot safer. I was just waiting on my cage and was excited to put my harnesses in, so I just kind of did it for looks. I'm gonna install the left side shoulder strap first. Make sure your pad is facing the right direction, and then take the end of your strap, feed it underneath the bar, and then go through the top hole. Get it as tight as you can. Feed it through the bottom hole. Now try to snug it up a little more. And then you're gonna go over this bottom lip and then through the top. Like that. There we go. So that's what it should look like. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the right shoulder strap. There we go. Once the shoulder straps are installed and you like how they fit, it might be a good idea to tie up the excess harness that's left so it's not hanging and getting all muddy. I'm just gonna throw mine through kind of behind the seat and then put a zip tie in it and roll it up as tight as I can. And just tie it up. You don't have to do this, it just kind of makes it look a little cleaner. I have both shoulder straps installed now. I have the excess tied up so it looks clean. Now I'm gonna install the seat. Now I'm gonna mount the 5-point submarine strap, the one that goes right between your legs. If you're doing a 4-point harness, disregard this part. So I wanted my 5th point to be perfectly centered between my legs so it didn't like rub or anything. I've seen some guys use these holes and I didn't want it like off to the side, so I came up with this bracket here. I just used the 1.5-inch strap that we used on the harness adapter plates that we previously made, and then I got some 1-inch strap, so I just picked that up. All of this together was like $7. So this goes right here. I'm gonna put a dimension drawing of this mounting plate and the adapter plate. That way you can screenshot it if you want to build the exact same one, or you can kind of just use this concept to do kind of your own thing. I'm gonna mount the 5th point bracket right here on the seat frame. I did use a lock washer on the underside. Now I'm going to install the mounting loop for the 5th point harness. I used the same 1/2-inch diameter 1-inch bolt that I used for the harness brackets that we made. I'm going to put a lock washer on there as well. To fasten the 5th point strap to the loop mount we just installed, you're going to want to slide
this rectangular bracket on. Get it placed about where you think it's going to need to go. And then feed the strap through the loop. Now we're going to go back through, get it as tight as you can, and then go back through the next side. There we go. Now I'm going to roll up the excess on my 5th point strap so it's not flapping around down at my feet. I like to grab a zip tie and then just roll the zip tie up in the strap and then wrap it as tight as you can. There we go. I'm going to put the bottom of the seat back in. You just put these hooks underneath this crossbar and then put this tapered boss into that rubber bushing. Like that. I have the harnesses and the seats fully installed now. I am still using the factory YXZ seats. When you're using the factory seats, the harnesses kind of go around the seat and kind of rest on this side padding here. It's really comfortable, but I doubt that it's as safe as going through the seat. I do plan on getting a racing seat with the actual pass-throughs. I just haven't decided on a seat yet. I have seen on Amazon that they have cutouts for like factory YXZ or Razor seats, but I didn't want to cut into my factory seats. If I can find those, I'll put a link in the description for them, but I don't know much about them. But if you're looking for something like that, I'll put it in there. To fasten this 5-point harness, first you're going to grab your 5th point submarine strap, the one that goes between your legs. You're going to put that around your left side buckle here. And then you're going to put this buckle through the right side buckle. Make sure this tab is in this hook and then push down and it'll snap. There's ball detents that keep it snapped in here. And then this quick release safety pull strap here, you're going to Velcro it down so it's against the seat, just like that. After that, just snap together these plastic buckles that keep your shoulder straps together. Both shoulder straps have adjustment points right here. You just pull down to make it tighter and then lift up and pull to make it looser. The lap belt portion of the harness also has adjustment on each side of the buckle. If you need it tighter, you just pull. If you need it looser, just pull up on this tab here, pull some slack, like that. Getting out of these harnesses is really easy and really fast, which is great for emergency situations. All you have to do is unbuckle this shoulder strap buckle and then just pull on this red tab, and then the whole thing just comes apart and you can jump out. I hope you liked this video. If it did help you out, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. We've been getting a lot of views on our videos lately, and we've gained a few subscribers, but not many. We'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. It really keeps us motivated. We have a lot of good rides coming up. It's starting to snow here in Michigan, so we're going to get the side-by-sides out in the snow. Maybe the 4-wheelers. We're going to get the snowmobiles out pretty soon. We got some twisted UTV rides coming up. So, all right. Thanks for watching. See you next time. So we just plug it in. You got to be shitting me.